Hello, everybody. Welcome to this week's edition of Valpo Football Preview, along with head coach Dave Cicchini. This is Todd Eichow, and today we'll start with what was a wild day on Saturday, surviving 2 long rain delays. The game technically took over 6 hours. I've never seen anything quite like it. You've been around football a long time as well. Have you seen anything like it?
No. I mean, it was the longest day at the office that I've ever had. So I've been a part of several lightning delays in the past, and some interesting weather, playing through some interesting weather. But this was the first time that literally, the game took almost 6.5 hours to get through.
Okay, we don't want to lose sight of the fact of how well the Crusaders played on Saturday. A 34-point victory over a real solid football program. Maybe start with, what are some of the reasons why and how did this happen?
Yeah, sure. Well, I mean, first of all, taking that weather into account, it was an incredible day of focus out of our players. They did a great job, through both lightning delays, maintaining their focus, relaxing, staying loose, eating, which comes into play, just doing everything right and being able to get the pads back on, go out and maintain that same level of energy and focus and enthusiasm. And our players, clearly did that better than Marist's team did. But even take that away, I mean, we played a very good football game from an execution standpoint. Both offensively, defensively, and really in our special teams as well, just trying to accomplish what we were trying to accomplish. And, it was a tough physical game in every aspect, and I think we did as good a job just going toe-to-toe with an opponent for 60 minutes.
Through the first few weeks, and we've talked about this numerous times, the offense was really rolling. Mm-hmm. And then for whatever reason, injuries I'm sure are part of it, and I'll let you talk about that, there was maybe a 2.5 game stretch where you just did not have the offense clicking the way, from a talent standpoint, you expected to have them. Everything worked offensively against a very good football team, good defensive team on Saturday.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of being able to throw the ball in the rain and in some less than ideal weather, that worked out well. Jimmy was great, but getting the running game going and being able to have 3 separate tailbacks shuffle in and out, and each one having a big impact on the game and scoring touchdowns, and on top of just not only be able to have that balance between running and passing, but in a game like that, critical to not turn the ball over in that type of weather. And that was something our defense did an outstanding job forcing the 6 turnovers, and we only turned it over once on offense.
Finally, maybe healthy Jernigan, healthy Seawald able to work together.
Yes.
Some sort of great chemistry they have right there. Jimmy, player of the week on the offensive side in the PFL under those conditions. Really remarkable, but I've got to assume that the cohesion between center and quarterback, and both being finally healthy, which you haven't had in weeks, is important as well.
I mean, our entire offensive line did a great job. Jack was the anchor again, did an incredible job getting all the snaps back, making all our calls up front. In terms of, for Jimmy, it was really his least physical game. He didn't get sacked. He didn't have a single rush in the game. He only got hurried, I believe, twice. The entire game. So for him, physically, it was the easiest game I believe he's had as a Crusader. So that's outstanding. That's a testament to how well we played and how well we blocked for Jimmy in the pass game.
All right, now 3 straight halves of really good defensive football as well. You can't overlook that.
Right.
Not only taking the ball away, but making stops and key points in the game.
Yes. Yeah, no, we're definitely playing with more confidence on defense. We're starting to get healthier. We're going to have a couple of players hopefully coming back after the bye week, but we're playing faster. We're having less assignment breakdowns, and that I think probably the biggest difference is we, particularly this Saturday, were more opportunistic. When the ball was in the air, we were able to get the ball off of deflections, guys making great breaks on the ball. We knocked the ball loose a couple of times, knocked some balls down at the line of scrimmage, and were able to get at least one interception off of the tip pass up front. So that's critical. And anytime you can look at that turnover margin, and it is swung so heavily in our favor on Saturday. If we can keep doing things like that as we move through the final 4 games of the season, we're going to be in an excellent chance to win all 4 of those games.
I think the tone was set on those first 2 drives when they had first and goal inside the 5 twice and only got 3 points.
Right.
I mean, you do that, that's going to sort of set the tone going forward.
Yeah, I think, and in the red zone, as well as we've been playing offensively in the red zone, our defense at the beginning of the year was playing poorly and giving up too many touchdowns, but really have kind of flipped that. Had played out an outstanding job in the red zone, did a great job of keeping Marist out, particularly on those first 2 drives, and that really set the tone for the rest of the game.
And some of the young kids growing up, Dylan Scargill, I think, took a leap forward, not only the turnovers, but even you look at their second drive on those 2 fade patterns where he takes the receiver out of bounds. That's a veteran play.
Yeah, absolutely, and against a great wide receiver, an all-league player.
Now you have a bye week, and maybe it seems always good mid-season to have a bye week, but off this performance, you probably would like to get back out and play.
Well, yeah, exactly. Part of you says, boy, we just came off what was our best performance of the season. Let's keep things rolling. But at the same time, we do have some guys that are down, guys that we can use to get rest. We still are playing an awful lot of young players, particularly on the defensive side of the ball, and we can use all the time, all of those practices that we'll get in where you can focus a little bit more on the fundamentals, get back to basics, start reteaching your schemes and getting players more comfortable with executing. Hopefully these next couple of days are really going to serve us well.
You mentioned focus. How were you, as we back up a little bit, how were you able to keep the focus through those 2 long rain delays?
Yeah, well, I think we had a great plan. We knew going in that there was a potential for weather delays, so we did a great job of having snacks, fruit, and water, and we were ready to go. We had a good situation where the coaches would meet with the players, but we would allow them to have time to just relax. We didn't want it to be at that high level. It's so unrealistic to sit there and say, hey, for 6.5 hours, we're not going to let our guard down. So we wanted to make sure that we got in, we made our adjustments like in a typical halftime, but then we let our guys just relax and walk around, stay loose, have fun, and let that type of atmosphere. So when it was time to ramp it back up, you still had a lot left in the tank, and I think we did a great job of that.
And you said let the players kind of have their own space. You yourself had to be busy trying to figure out what could happen if the rain doesn't stop.
Sure,
right?
Exactly, and that was tough. So us as coaches, we were a lot busier than our players, particularly myself as the head coach. Conversations with the PFL commissioner and with the officials and with the athletic directors, just working out contingency plans, how long could we go with these delays before we were going to call it, whether or not we would reschedule the game for Sunday. So that took up a lot of our time.
Well, as it turned out, fortunately, able to get those final 2 quarters in because they were outstanding quarters, obviously, for your football team. Now going ahead, bye week, obviously the team will get a little more time off. How much time do you spend this week kind of retooling, and how much time this week do you do prepping for a game which isn't going to take place for another week and a half?
Well, we're going to stick to almost exclusively just fine-tuning and getting back to just the basics, running, blocking, tackling, working on the little things, staying more away from the game plans. Well, there'll be time for that, and we'll get a little bit of a head start maybe at the end of the week on Moorhead, but we're really looking inwards and seeing what we can do to improve our schemes, how more the younger players, how much that a lot of these guys, that particularly our redshirt players that have been spending a lot of time down on scout team, that can get tedious, and they've been running our opponent's offenses or our opponent's defenses, and we'll give them a chance to go back and get back to some Valpo football and get some scrimmaging in with those guys as well. So we're looking to get healthy, we're looking to get better as a team, and then late in the week we'll get a jump start on Moorhead.
All right, and we'll talk more about Moorhead next week. Congratulations on what was really a great win. Back at home the following week, which so far has looked good, 3 straight conference home victories.
That's right.
Which hasn't happened in nearly 20 years at Valpo, so let's keep it going. Congrats, Dave.
All right, thank you very much, Todd.
For head coach Dave Cicchini, this is Todd Eichow. Thanks for joining us this week on Valpo Football Preview.